I was ready to go to war with the finance department over a $300 plane ticket. Rules are rules, not a single penny over budget, the finance manager declared, her voice dripping with condescension. As a result, our company lost an $8.5 million contract. At the debriefing, the CEO was incandescent with rage. Will someone please explain to me what the hell happened? The conference room was suffocatingly silent. The massive, polished mahogany table reflected every twisted and humiliated face around it. The echoes of CEO Mark Harrison's roar still vibrated in the air. $8.5 million. He slammed the file in his hand onto the table. The thud was like a sledgehammer to the chest of everyone present. A project we've been working on for 6 months. Gone. Right at the finish line. Can anyone give me an explanation? No one dared to speak. The executives sat bolt upright, their eyes fixed on nothing, as if they'd all turned to stone. I sat at the very end of the table, in a corner that was almost always overlooked. I could feel the eyes of my direct supervisor, sales director John Miller, boring into me. His gaze was a frantic cocktail of anxiety, warning, and a kind of pathetic pleading. He mouthed the words silently. Stick to the plan. The plan was the story he had cornered me with in the break room, just before the meeting, delivering it not as a request, but as an order. Amber, you are going to take the fall for this one. Just say you were careless and forgot to send the proposal before the deadline. The company won't fire you. At worst, you'll get a reprimand and lose your bonus. It is okay for young people to make mistakes. It is the attitude that counts. I had just stared at his greasy face and his shifty, shameless eyes and said nothing. Now, his eyes were flashing that same message again, a desperate urging that made my stomach turn. I lowered my gaze, my fingers tracing the cold edge of my phone under the table. My heart was a drum against my ribs, heavy and loud. I knew this was my only chance. Either I could continue to be the doormat I'd been for the past 2 years, the disposable pawn they pushed out to take the blame, or I could flip this whole goddamn table over. Is no one going to speak? The CEO's voice was ice. His eyes, like a hawk's, scanned each face. John, you are the sales director. You led this project. You tell me. John flinched as if he'd been struck. He shot to his feet, beads of sweat instantly dotting his forehead. Sir, the ultimate responsibility is mine. I failed to properly supervise. He started by shouldering a meaningless sliver of blame, then pivoted. However, there was a small hiccup in the execution. The employee responsible for delivering the proposal, Amber Lynn, he pointed at me. In an instant, every executive in the room swiveled their head, their gazes like searchlights, all fixed on me. There was scrutiny, contempt, a little bit of schadenfreude, and a whole lot of cold indifference. I was the eye of the storm. A flicker of relief crossed John's face. He thought he'd successfully diverted the fire to the temp. He looked at me, his voice dripping with fake sympathy and a magnanimous boss's tone. Amber, why don't you explain to the CEO what happened? Under the weight of all those stares, I slowly got to my feet. My body was stiff from sitting for so long, but I straightened my spine. I pushed my black, framed glasses up the bridge of my nose, the lenses hiding the emotion in my eyes. Mr. Harrison, my voice wasn't loud, but in the dead silence of the room, it was terrifyingly clear. I ignored John and looked directly at the man at the head of the table. I saw his brow furrowed in impatience and suspicion. I can explain. Then, I said the words I had practiced in my head 1,000 times. It happened because I couldn't afford the plane ticket to deliver the proposal to the client. 1 second, 2 seconds. You could have heard a pin drop. Then, a wave of suppressed gasps and murmurs. I saw John's face drain of all color, then flush a deep, mottled purple. He clearly hadn't expected me, the quiet, head-down workhorse, to say something like that in this setting. Across from me, the finance manager, Susan Hayes, her face a mask of perfect makeup, went from shocked to